Nashville Predators currently find themselves in fourth place in the Central Division after 67 games skated. They have a record of 38, 25, and 4. 80 points has the Nashville Predators 7 points shy of an automatic qualifying playoff position of third in the Central Division and 9 points out of first place in the Central Division. That is right, the Nashville Predators, with 15 games to go in the season, are single-digit points out of first place in the Central. We'll update the entirety of the division and, of course, the wild card, because that is of critical importance to this Predators team here in just a second. The Nashville Predators' next game will take place on the road, where they are wrapping up a road trip. 20 wins on the road this season. Highly impressive. 10 losses, 3 overtime losses, 215 goals for on the season, 203 goals against overall in the season. That's a goal differential of plus 12. Now, for the Nashville Predators, once they wrap up this game in Seattle, Tuesday, they will be back home to face off against the San Jose Sharks. Thursday, measuring stick game at the Florida Panthers. Saturday, back home versus the Detroit Red Wings. On the 26th of March versus the Vegas Golden Knights. On the 28th at the Arizona Coyotes. Now, a couple of things that are going to be affecting the Nashville Predators, and it is on the defensive side of things. Injuries. Dante Fabro out 2 to 3 weeks, and Stastny now out week to week. So Fabro goes out of the lineup. Stastny comes up to take Fabro's spot in the lineup. Stastny gets injured in the first game in the lineup, now listed as week to week, and that is unfortunate for both of them, because Fabro was playing quite good, and Stastny was playing quite good in Milwaukee, and also in his short opportunities here in Nashville was also playing quite good. Now, let's talk about the updated standings before we get into this particular game matchup. For the Central Division, the Colorado Avalanche are leading the three-team weave at this moment in time with 89 points. They have skated in 67 games. The Dallas Stars have skated in 68 games. They also have 89 points, so the tiebreaker goes to Colorado. The Winnipeg Jets 2 points behind first place after skating in 65 games. So Winnipeg has 2 games in hand over the first place Colorado Avalanche and 3 games in hand for the second place Dallas Stars. So 2 points separates first place from third place with just a number of games to go in the season. I imagine it's going to take until the final periods of the season, and that 2-3 matchup sure is going to be very spicy. Outside the automatic qualifying playoff spots for the Central Division, we get into the wild card chase pack, and the wild card leaders, the Nashville Predators, after 67 games, get up 80 points. They're in fourth place in the Central Division. Minnesota Wild are at 73 points, and in fifth place, they are 7 points behind Nashville. St. Louis in sixth place has 71 points, 9 points behind Nashville. And then the Arizona Coyotes are at 59 points. The Chicago Blackhawks are at 41 points on the season. Both of those teams are done. The Nashville Predators find themselves in a very unique position right now. 7 points, so they're close in the rearview mirror to the top teams in the upper part of the division, and they also have a cushion below the teams below them. Minnesota 7 points behind, St. Louis 9 points behind. That puts them in a unique position in the wild card right now, holding the number 1 spot overall in the wild card with 80 points. Vegas holds the wild card 2 spot with 77 points, and then Minnesota is at 73, St. Louis at 71. Those are the teams on the outside looking in. Calgary, Seattle behind that. So the Nashville Predators currently hold a 7-point cushion on a playoff spot with just 15 games to go in the season. Now, the Nashville Predators' upcoming game is going to be in Seattle against the Kraken. It's the end of a road trip. It'll also be the end of the regular season series between the Nashville Predators and the Seattle Kraken. They met 2 previous times, so this will be the third of the 3 regular season meetings, all the way back to the beginning of the season. So it's really hard to judge the teams that we saw in these games that we're about to describe versus the teams that we're seeing at this point in time in the season. Back on October the 12th, it was just the second game of the season for the Preds. They scored a 3-0 victory versus Seattle Kraken on home ice. It was their first victory of the season. UC Saros went 23-23, picked up the victory, and also, of course, got the shutout. Nyquist, Parsonen, Sissons scored the goals for the Nashville Predators in this game. Grubauer went 32 of 34. He took the loss in this game. They would meet one more time on November the 2nd. The Seattle Kraken would score the victory on home ice against the Nashville Predators 4-2. UC Saros would get the start again, this time 27 out of 31, would take the loss. Grubauer would get the same exact stat line as the previous game, 32 out of 34, but this time it was good enough for a victory. Yossi and Novak scored for the Nashville Predators in that game. So the Preds on the regular season, 1-1 against Seattle, 2 out of 4 points acquired, outscored the Kraken 5-4 at this moment in time. Now, for the Seattle Kraken. Currently, they have a record of 28, 25, and 12. They're at 68 points. That is sixth best in the Pacific Division, and they are the fourth team on the outside in the wild card race. So their season is on the precipice of coming to its unlikely conclusion very soon. 14, 13, and 6 on home ice, 179 goals for 186 goals against. -7 is their goal differential. Let's take a look at their most recent stretch of hockey. Let's talk about their previous 5. On the 4th of March, it was a 4-2 win at the Calgary Flames. On the 5th of March, a 4-3 win at the Winnipeg Jets. So back-to-back nights, impressive wins against Calgary and Winnipeg. But then on the 8th, a 3-0 loss versus Winnipeg. So in the home and home against the Jets, they went 1-1. On the 12th of March, a 5-4 overtime loss versus Vegas, and most recently on the 14th, a 2-1 loss versus the Washington Capitals. Ducourt got the start, took the loss, 21 out of 23. Now taking a look at the NHL ranks and the matchup between these two teams, it is the Nashville Predators ahead in the goals for category, 3.18. That is 13th best in the NHL. The Seattle Kraken are at 2.71 goals per game. That is 28th in the NHL. That number is not very good. 3.03 goals against for the Predators is 15th in the NHL. The Seattle Kraken have a top 10 metric right here. 2.80 goals against in the NHL is 8th best in the National Hockey League. In shots on goal categories, 31.4 generated on net per game is 13th for Nashville. 28.7 on net per game for Seattle is 24th overall. In the shots against category, the Nashville Predators are 20th overall in the NHL, giving up 30.4 per game, while the Seattle Kraken are giving up 30 even per game. That's 17th in the league. Power play, Predators 19.9% is 19th best in the NHL. 45 conversions on 226 opportunities. Seattle Kraken are 2 positions ahead of the Nashville Predators, 17th overall rated in the NHL, converting at 21% of the season. 38 conversions, though, on 181 opportunities. Less conversions, many less opportunities than the Nashville Predators have had on the season, but a higher overall ranking by conversion percentage. The penalty kill, the Nashville Predators, 76.6% kill rate, is 25th overall in the NHL on the season. They've given up 48 power play goals against. Oh, that's an ugly number. 79% kill rate for the Kraken, 16th best in the league. 38 power play goals against on the season, so 10 fewer power play goals against given up by Seattle on the year. So when it comes to individual statistics updated through the most recent game for the Seattle Kraken, Philip Forsberg continues to lead the Nashville Predators, 34 goals plus 35 assists, 69 points, is first on the team. The captain, Roman Josi, is at 15 goals and 50 assists. Those 50 assists represents number 1 overall in that statistical category. 65 points overall. What an impressive second half of the season in the statistical categories for the captain, Roman Josi, and he's not slowing down the stretch here. Nyquist is at 18 and 44, 58, headed towards a career assists and points. O'Reilly, 4th on the team in scoring, 24 goals, 32 assists, 56 total points. Tommy Novak, 13 goals, 24 assists for 37 points, because all he does is make plays. Over on the Seattle Kraken side of the ledger for individual statistics, we see McCann, 27 goals and 26 assists for 53 points. Those 27 goals do represent tops on the team for Seattle. Bjorkstrand at 18 goals and 29 assists for 47 points. Dunn has 11 goals and 34 assists representing the tops in that category on the team for 45 points overall, which is 3rd overall in the Predators. Jordan Eberle, 14 and 23 for 37, and Eeli Tolvanen, 15 goals, 19 assists for 34 points overall on the season. That Eeli Tolvanen, I expected him to be higher than that by this point in time. Joey Ducourt in net updated standings for Seattle, 17, 14, and 10, 9.19 save percentage, 2.45 goals against average with 2 shutouts on the season. UC Saros, no reason to believe he's not going to get the start with a rather light week on the schedule. The Predators have 2 days off after this one, 2 days off leading in, 2 days off coming out. No reason to believe UC Saros isn't going to get the start. 28, 21, and 4, 907 save percentage, 2.83 goals against average, 2 shutouts on the season. The Nashville Predators look to wrap up a road trip strong and continue their point scoring streak. And they also look to wrap up the regular season series against the Seattle Kraken strong. A win in this game would put the Predators at 2-1 in the 3-game series against Seattle this season. That's of critical importance. Also, taking 2 points away from Seattle would push them further down in the standings as the number of games starts to dwindle on the season for some of the teams that start to look up and see an insurmountable amount of points and teams to overcome in the wild card race. That's got you set for the Kraken and the Preds. Very excited about this one, a late night on a Saturday night. We are very, very pumped to be covering that one. Now it's time for the Reaver Sports full game recap. Let's get to it right up next on the Renegades of Puck podcast.